Okay, this is our first idea. A girl who dances comes home from a dance school/club one day. She was walking down a dark alleyway to find drips of blood on the floor. She hears a car screech. The next day she was on a news report saying that a girl was missing the night before, and it was the same girl.
A psycho killer has a flashback of him killing people and he can't get them out of his mind. He goes crazy. He wakes up and then he opens a wardrobe with all dead bodies in. They all fall out on him.
A girl, this is idea number 3. A girl is obsessed with a guy that doesn't like her back. So she kidnaps him and she keeps him she keeps him hostage at her house, and she drugs him up and he dies. He rots to death in her house.
Multiple choice.
The second one.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
It sounds like it'd have like elements of a thriller.
I quite like the idea at the start of number 1 because it's gripping for people to keep watching.
I don't think the first one would entice people into watching it.
I don't think the first one's quite believable.
I think the third one sounds a bit more like a horror than a thriller.
Maybe a chase scene.
Just include a cliffhanger at the end.
Maybe try and be a bit more original because they're all a bit classical.
I'd go and watch the second one.
I'd watch the third one.
Yeah, the second one then.
Like what? Any element stuff?
I like the wardrobe thing of all the dead bodies falling out.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Well.
Sorry.
Our first idea is about a girl who dances comes home from a dance school one day. She walks down an alleyway to find drips of blood on the floor. She hears a car screech. The next scene is of a news report of a girl who was missing the night before, and it turns out to be the same girl.
Idea 2. A psycho killer has a flashback of him killing people and he can't get them out of his mind. He goes crazy. He wakes up and then opens a wardrobe with dead bodies in. They fall out on him.
Idea number 3 is a girl. She's obsessed with this guy, but the guy doesn't like her back. So she kidnaps him and keeps him hostage at her house, and she drugs him up, and like a few years later, like many years after, he rots to death, but she kept him in her house. Question 1. What idea do you like the most? 1, 2 or 3?
I actually really like number 1, and the reason why I do like number 1 is because I think that it adheres to some of the conventions of a thriller more so than the other two perhaps. Also, I think it's relatively simple, so bearing in mind that this is just the opening of a thriller, I think you'll be able to achieve your objective much better in a shorter amount of time. So it's quite simple, quite clean, a very simple storyline. You don't have to go into sort of too much background about, oh, this happened and that happened, lots of different subplots and things like that. So I do kind of like number 1.
Question 2. Why do you like it?
Well, for those reasons, sorry, and also I think I like the suspense. I like the fact that you would leave it on a cliffhanger a little bit, because actually after you find out that the girl is the one who, the dead girl is the one who went missing, the rest of the film presumably would sort of delve into how that happened, who's her murderer, what were the events leading up to that point, so you're kind of leaving your opening on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I think you could make it look quite dramatic as well.
Question 3. What don't you like about the other ideas?
I think idea number 3 could be quite complicated, and I think you might need to, it might be difficult to portray the whole idea, the whole storyline in just 2 or 3 minutes. So this is an opening for a thriller, not the whole film. I think it would be great if you were filming the whole thriller. And the second idea, I think, I just didn't really like the idea of a load of dead bodies falling out of a cupboard. I think that's sort of a little bit more in the horror genre, less thriller, maybe a bit zombie.
Question 4. Do you think anything is missing from any of those ideas? Or do you have any ideas to add on?
I think if you were going to go with number 1, I think just bear in mind that music is really key. Music will be really important for all of your thrillers. And I think if you go with a simple idea, a more simple idea, then the way that you shoot it, your camera angles, you can spend a bit more time on your cinematography and make that look really clean and sharp and effective. And I would just say choose your actors carefully. That would be important.
Question 5. Would you go and watch any of these films in a cinema?
Yeah, I would watch all of those films in the cinema. I'd like to see all of them, but I'd like to see the opening for number 1 the most.
Question 6, final question. Are there any parts of the ideas that you like the best?
I like the idea in number 1 that you're kind of setting the scene. You're building up this tension that somebody's gone missing, what's happened to her, and then you're referring back to the fact that we've seen that she's missing. So you might have missing posters, you might show a family grieving or anxiously picking up the phone, ringing round, and then actually there is some kind of resolution. You do find out, or maybe there's a suggestion of what has happened to her, that she's come to quite an ill-fated end. I do quite like the idea of a stalker, so somebody being in love, being obsessed with somebody else. I think that could also work, but maybe I'm not sure about the fact that he's kind of rotted in her house. Maybe you could just sort of work on that a little bit. I do like the idea of kind of kidnap though. I think that could be quite interesting. Yeah.
Thank you very much.